challenges we face as a country and the world as a whole. I think this month alone I've attended around 3 meetings at a regional level of Africa, and we are all trying to see how we prepare ourselves as we go to Bonn. It is very evident that the impacts on our communities is very clear. When you go to the communities, actually, first of all, destruction to infrastructure. When you go now, people are grappling with damaged roads, damaged bridges, but I keep on asking them whether they know the linkage as to why a road which was repaired last year has already been damaged. This is why we should be here, and this is why we need to make everybody understand the link and the impact which we shall be facing as climate change bites. Now, in Uganda, recent studies have shown that Uganda as a country largely depends on rain-fed agriculture. And if you didn't know, you need to know that 40% of our local rainfall, we generate it from the wetlands, the forests, and the open waters, which everybody is now going for. Actually, for us ministers of water and environment, every day we are busy defending or trying to protect wetlands and forests. And I don't know whether at this level, I would expect every Ugandan to know that we either have to protect these systems or we shall die. Because once we lose this 40%, we don't have any control over the 60% from the external influences. So this has to be, in fact, the media is here. We need really to be, you really need to be our greatest partners, not just only punch us negatively, but we need to work and we make sure that our people get to know about this. Now, we have also been told, scientists have predicted that within the 50 years, climate change will cause an average temperatures in Uganda to rise by around 2 degrees centigrade. Well, the temperatures will rise. People will ask, so what? You've had other leaders claiming that we can get ACs, we cool ourselves. Others are trying to play around, but what will be the impact on the country? Let's look at coffee. We are told we might lose all our coffee growing areas, almost dropping on to 2%. Coffee is a source of livelihood to many. And the sectors which are likely to be impacted most are water. And when we talk of water, water is like, it can spark off other sectors not to perform, because energy is dependent on water. Those dams, they will just be there as white elephants when the rivers have dried. Agriculture, I think we've seen a small pinch of just some slight shocks of droughts, and you can see what has been happening, especially last year's drought. Now, we are also told that this phenomenon of El Nino is going to be more frequent. Today, I mean this year, we are now going through a mini El Nino. And for us in Uganda, we are impacted by having sometimes above normal rainfall. But the area we have to really watch out is the southwest, that southwestern region. Other areas have been having rain, for them they have drought. Then the cattle corridor. And these are areas where people are very relaxed. I've been trying to traverse the countryside. They tell us, but Honourable Minister, why don't you first tell those people in Kampala, those who are draining wetlands, to stop? Let's sensitize people. By the way, each zone, I think, Mr. Mafabi, you now need to teach Ugandans that we have what we call climatological zones. So each zone has a certain ecological feature which brings your rainfall. Like Mount Elgon, it is that mountain and a forest. For Kampala, you are lucky you have this lake here. That is why Kampala has the highest rainfall in the whole country. And you find someone in the cattle corridor trying to compare themselves with Kampala. So it is the technical team. I used to be technical, but you see, the things, when they happen, you don't go back again. And when you have been, the Baganda say vitala byakuta. If you've been released by the traffic lights, you don't go back again. But it does not mean that I cannot do it. But the technical people need to go, especially meteorology. They have this information so that people know this is the forest where we get water. I mean rainfall. I was in Chenjojo. In the community, I asked them, now tell me, in the past, where was your rainfall coming from? You know, there are certain directions you get rain from. They pointed in the northwest. That's where we have Goma and which other one? Which other forest? Udongo and Goma system. Then they pointed in the side of Matiri. Then they pointed in the southwest. Now I ask them now, from your observance, what you observe, do you see any changes? That yes, the rainfall in the side of Goma still comes. This one in the side of Matiri is struggling. This side has stopped. We no longer see rain from this. This is what you technical people are supposed to go on the ground and sit with communities using the knowledge which they have. You try to influence them. Yeah, I told them now, which forest used to be here? Yeah, okay, there used to be a forest, but we cut them. So the rain stopped. Now, they are only getting rainfall where we have the central forest reserves. Otherwise, where they used to have forests, they cleared, and I told them you cleared the forests and also cleared the rainfall. Now they are asking Kampala, please, we don't have rain. I'm a minister for water and environment. I supervise meteorology, but I cannot bring rainfall. I cannot bring rainfall. I was in Mount Elgon. That's where I'm born. You know, when we assess, I personally did the assessment, the catchment area for all the big rivers is just only around 1,000 square kilometers. Now, when we go and assess, the area occupied by the Mount Elgon National Park is only 154 square kilometers. That is what has been put under Uganda Wildlife Authority, because it's a water catchment, not a national park. Mount Elgon is a unique national park. It is protected because of its water. It is a water tower. Now, what we are doing, we have been in the meetings, and that's where Mr. Mafabi comes from. Always in the meetings, people now want to go into this only 154 square kilometers. Because we are already, actually, we are all settled in the catchment. But we now want to go. We change the boundary. I said, use with or without the boundary. If we look at the nail, if I cut your nail, I got a razor blade and started cutting, and I cut it almost 3/4. Will you allow me to cut? Because you will bleed, not so. And you will want to put your hand away. But why are we doing it to Mount Elgon National Park? It is like we have already entered. We are already, in fact, the only percentage of the catchment remaining is 12. But we still want to go and cut and continue making it bleed. And what are the impacts? Right now, River Wakaka, which feeds Tororo town, is struggling. Now National Water wants to go and get water from Manafa. Those are higher costs. Then we shall be in Parliament debating, reduce the water costs. But water is coming from all the way from River Manafa. It cannot reach Tororo when it is cheap. Now the only river which I think is performing, the only gravity system which is performing well is Ririma. And that one, it has its watershed in the park. You go to Manafa, Mbale town is also struggling. High silt in the river. When it's dry, the water level really the river almost dries up. All these we know. Why can't we tell people A, B, C, D? We are now preparing to go to Bonn. Actually, if I was given a chance to assess that list of who is going to Bonn, or if I was to wait at the airport to clear those who really... You know, when we were in Marrakesh last year, as ministers, we said COP22 is a COP of action. Are we listening? We've been negotiating. The negotiators, I think, are here. Negotiating, and we said we've negotiated enough. We now want actions. Now, Mr. Chebet, I wanted actually to clear that list according to the actions. If I could really assess the members of parliament, yes, they have really been on the ground, and I've seen their support to me even as a minister. Climate change department, yes, at least the whip, when I whipped them, they are now on the ground. Now, other areas, I can go and assess everybody. The media, yes, you have really supported us. You qualify to go to Bonn. So if I looked at that list, I could stand at the airport and say, what did you do? Because we want actions, not just to go to Bonn. Now I've seen some people defending themselves, the Paris Agreement and so on. You now bring the Paris Agreement. Yes, the agreement is there. We signed it. We now want actions. What have you done? That's why I want to take them, if UNDP would allow me. There are people who are on the ground, even women. I know of women groups trying to put trees to plant. How many have you planted? Before I clear you to go to board. These are the questions. So it is a question which I'm asking every Ugandan. It is not a matter of going to Bonn, but we really need to have actions on the ground. But these are just, when you're also being whipped as a minister, you also look for those within your reach whom you can whip. But otherwise, I wish to thank the development partners for all the support that you've given us, and to my ministry. We are trying very hard to see that we access the Green Climate Fund. That is also another area. For Uganda, we don't contribute much. If we talk of emissions, we don't emit anything. What percentage now is it? Is it 0.1 or 0.00 something? But the way we are impacted on is very heavily. And that's where we are saying those who are doing bad things should pay us who are good, not so. And that should be the message we should go with to Bonn. But in 2009, it was agreed that every year, countries who are doing bad things should put aside around $100 million for those who are doing good things to be able to promote adaptation and mitigation. But as we speak now, I think last year they told us there's only 10 billion in the Green Climate Fund, which everybody is looking at. So that should be the message we go with to Bonn. So I'm just trying to tickle you to see that we don't just go there and come back as we went. Like we went to Marrakesh, we were supposed to have actions. So, Mr. Chebet, I want to read the message from Uganda. Should not just writing these, you know how you people technical write your statements, but I want to see actions. I know the Wetlands Department is moving fine to restore. How much of that have we restored? We have been able to attract $24 million, but we shouldn't celebrate that. I was with my colleague in Ethiopia. For him, he has attracted 280 million. Why Ethiopia has 280 and Uganda only 20? Those are the questions I'm leaving with you. Otherwise, I wish you good deliberations. I thank everybody for turning up, and I now officially declare the symposium open. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chitutu Mary, State Minister, Environment and Water. Well, the symposium is officially open, and it's probably brought to you by the Climate Change Department at the Ministry of Water and Environment, UNDP, and the Daily Monitor, which gives you nothing but the truth every day, USAID, KFM, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, NTV, and ABA Trust. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into that moment where we need to get the updates on the national climate change agenda. And ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the Commissioner of the Climate Change Department, Minister of Water and Environment, Mr. Chebet Maikut. Okay, and by the way, just so you know, you can make recommendations as well as ask questions through our Twitter handle, #ClimateChangeUG. So you can go ahead and, tweet with reckless abandon there. All right. Okay, we're going to get the statement from UNDP. Ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Mujisha Pore, representing the UNDP Country Director, Madame Armaz Gebru. She's not been able to make it. She has some other competing priorities, so she sends apologies. And she has given me a brief message, which I'm going to read to you. And the message is as follows. The Minister of State for Environment, Honorable Chitutu Mary, in absentia, the PS, Minister of Water and Environment, the Commissioner, Climate Change, Minister of Water and Environment, the Managing Director, Monitor Publications Limited, representatives of development partners, technical officers in central and local governments, representatives from civil society, ladies and gentlemen. The Uganda National Development Plan 2 identified agriculture, tourism, minerals, oil and gas as the key sectors that would strengthen Uganda's competitiveness for sustainable wealth creation, employment and inclusive growth. This depicts that just like many sub-Saharan African countries, Uganda still depends on natural resources to drive growth and development. Such a heavy dependence on natural resources leads to a national development that is vulnerable to climate change and its potential impacts. Climate change is one of the greatest challenges the world's environment, society, and economy are currently faced with, including its wide-ranging effects on environment, agriculture, food security, water resources, human health, energy systems, and biodiversity. The potential for climate change to undo the progress made in development is very real, and was the reason many countries of the world signed the Paris Agreement, which Uganda assented to in 2016. In this first ever climate change symposium in Uganda, which seeks to address the need for improved weather, climate and greenhouse gas data, that information for decision making, I am glad to note that Uganda has recognized the need to contribute to mitigation of further climate change, as well as make efforts to adapt their production, industrial and service systems to the climatic changes. UNDP appreciates the government of Uganda's effort and has complemented this through supporting the development of the National Green Growth Strategy, whose overall objective is establishment of a system which brings together communities, public, private, civil society and international partners for economic activities related to production, distribution, and consumption of goods and services that ensure efficient use of environment and natural resources. The Uganda Green Growth Development Strategy is the country's pathway to a green economy, developed in line with aspirations of the National Constitution, the National Environment Action Plan, the Vision 2040, and the National Development Plan 2. It is hoped that this strategy will contribute to poverty eradication, sustainable economic growth, enhancing social inclusion, improving human welfare, and creating opportunities for decent employment while maintaining health and functioning ecosystems. With the knowledge that climate change is driven by emission of greenhouse gases, UNDP, through the Country Program 2016-2020, is supporting several initiatives to reduce emission of greenhouse gases and adaptation to climate changes in different sectors. I will mention a few. In the energy sector, UNDP, in collaboration with the Ministry of Energy and Mineral Development, promotes the use of high-efficient charcoal production kilns, which improve efficiency of conversion of biomass into charcoal from 10 to 40%, saving amount of forest harvested for energy. In the environment sector, UNDP supported establishment of national greenhouse gas inventory, which formed the basis for development of Uganda's national determined contributions, one of the obligations of countries subscribing to Paris Agreement. In addition, UNDP, in collaboration with FAO and UNEP, they are supporting the development of National RED Plus strategy designed to transform the forest sector and provide a means for the country to achieve its NDC. The strategy shall be shared at the Conference of the Parties on Climate Change, COP23 meeting, in a side event at the UNDP Pavilion. In the agriculture sector, UNDP, together with FAO, are supporting Ministry of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries to develop the agriculture sector climate adaptation plan. This promotes a series of adaptation options fit for the development for the different ecological zones of Uganda. UNDP also, in collaboration with Ministry of Agriculture, promoted climate-smart agriculture practices that doubled maize crop yields in the eastern region districts of Biende, Bujiri, Busia, Namutumba, and Kamuri. Despite the unpredictable weather conditions during the 2015-2016, this was made to happen. Again, UNDP, in collaboration with Uganda National Meteorological Authority, has established 32 automatic weather stations countrywide, which have improved accuracy of the weather forecasts. This will make a great contribution to national, subnational, and community level planning as farmers and organizations adapt to climate changes, given better information services. At this note, UNDP is happy to acknowledge the good working relationship enjoyed with Government of Uganda, UN agencies, and development partners in Uganda, Parliament, civil society, and private sector players. We pledge our utmost support to you in the pursuit of food security through adapting to climate changes so that Ugandans can enjoy their human rights and that both men and women are empowered to sustainably manage their ecosystems and production systems, taking care to maintain low carbon development paths. I thank you for listening.
All right, thank you, Paulie, so much. This is the Climate Change Symposium 2017, brought to you by the Ministry of Water and Environment, Climate Change Department, UNDP, Daily Monitor, USAID, Uganda Coffee Development Authority, NTV, and ABI Trust. All right, so what are the updates on the National Climate Change Agenda? Well, to enlighten us on what is happening is the Commissioner, CCD, Minister of Water and Environment, Mr. Chebet Maikut.
Welcome. Thank you very much once again. Very good morning to you all in your distinguished different capacities. I am excited today, excited that this has been made possible. And always, just like sometimes it refers to fellowship, when you have more people joining in the crusade, then you know something positive will happen at the end of the tunnel. There's light in the tunnel. So that said, I'm just briefly going to give you the highlights of the current climate change agenda for Uganda. And perhaps I would like to start with straight away on the kind of context in the background. And many people always pose the question, why is climate change a concern for Uganda? Again, as it has been stated by the guest of honor and other previous speakers, we all have to recall that Uganda is now faced with the increased frequency and intensity of extreme weather events such as the droughts and the floods, sometimes in the same parts of the country, and of course all this leading to water shortages or too much of the water if it is the floods, and that's leading to crop failure and reduction in our grazing potential, in addition to other problems such as in health, the problem of diseases, and so forth. The increased episodes of heavy rainfall, landslides or mudslides, shifting seasonality, flooding, all these have been leading to crop loss, soil erosion and degradation, diseases and infrastructure damage to roads, bridges, and other facilities like in education and health and so forth. Again, there are testimonies to this, the most recent being in the last 6 months alone, this country has witnessed a series of sporadic disasters which have led to loss of light, loss of life, destruction of property, the infrastructure, and many other aspects. Of course, the latest being were the landslide that happened in southwestern part of Uganda. That buried, I think, over 13 people and destroyed a number of health facilities and the roads and so forth. So a combination of all these uncertainties has resulted into low adaptive capacity in the country, both at the national, district, and community levels, as well as loss of income and disruption of our economic gains. And in summary, therefore, Uganda is under serious threat of the impacts of climate change. And therefore, every effort must be made to save our people now and in many years to come. Of course, again here it will suffice to point out that there's an international framework on how countries collectively can respond to the problem of climate change. There are 3 international climate change instruments, namely the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, where the government of Uganda signed in 1992 and ratified it in September 1993. the Kyoto Protocol, which provides for emission reduction targets of the most industrialized nations in the world. That came into effect in 2005. Actually, 2002, government of Uganda acceded to the Kyoto Protocol in 2005, March. And the most recent one, International Climate Change Instrument, that provides the policy framework to tackling the worst monsters of climate of humanity, is the Paris Agreement on Climate Change, where government of Uganda signed it in April 2016 and deposited the instrument of ratification in September, precisely the 22nd September 2017, I think 2017 rather. Again, government of Uganda therefore is a signatory to these three international climate change instruments, and therefore as a signatory and a party, we have certain obligations and commitments to fulfill. Again, domestication of this convention, the protocol and the agreement is yet to be done through entrenchment in our national legislation. Luckily enough, there's an ongoing process of the government of Uganda developing a standalone legal framework, the climate change bill, where some of you or a number of Ugandans have participated and made contributions. Therefore, to fully implement the various provisions of these international climate change instruments, the point that the chief guest emphasized this morning on focusing on actions on the ground is therefore important, and it will require financial, technical, and institutional capacity strengthening at various levels, both at the national level and at the lower levels of government, of course, up to the community level. And remember, we therefore all have the moral responsibility to utilize sustainably our God-given natural resources, such as the forest, the land, and so forth, at the point that the chief guest, Honorable Minister, did highlight earlier on. Let us all support looking after our people. If we don't look after our people, then people will not look after the environment and work hard to reduce the planet warming pollutions or emissions. Again, to remind ourselves, the government of Uganda has taken steps to put in place the necessary policy, institutional, and the development frameworks in place to respond to the problem of climate change. This has already been highlighted, and the last part of beefing this up is the legal framework, which is under development. And currently, the Climate Change Department is the overall institution. The Ministry of Water and Environment is the coordinating institution for all actions across the country. And of course, the Ministry also, Water and Environment, through the CCD, provides the Secretariat of all the carbon market mechanisms. The CDM, the Clean Development Mechanism, is the current one established under the Kyoto Protocol, but we have mechanisms which are under development under the Paris Agreement, as well as other mitigation actions, such as what we call the nationally appropriate mitigation actions. We now have the nationally determined contribution, the point that the representative of the country director, UNDP, has just highlighted to you. The then Climate Change Unit, established in 2008 through a cabinet decision, transformed into a standalone Department of Climate Change in the Ministry of Water and Environment. Now, some of the key achievements so far registered including, in particular, putting in the requisite development and policy processes in place, because these are quite essential if the country is to take advantage of how to respond appropriately to the threat of climate change, the warming up of the Mother Earth. And some of these include integration of climate change into the curricula for primary schools, primary 5 to primary 7, and the work is ongoing on integration of climate change into educational curricula for secondary schools. Again, this is made possible through our partnership as a ministry with the National Curriculum Development Center in the line Ministry of Education and Sports. We have the climate change mainstreaming guidelines already in place, developed under the leadership of the National Planning Authority and with support of the Ministry of Water and Environment. And these guidelines have been circulated to local governments. However, what remains to be done is dissemination of some of these important pieces of work already in place. The National Climate Change Policy and the Cost-State Implementation Strategy is already in place, having been approved by government in April 2015. Now, the National Adaptation Program of Action, which was developed way back some years, is under implementation. It has 9 priority community interventions or priority actions focusing on concrete actions on the ground on adaptation. Again, if there's time, we can highlight some of the few interventions in that area. And of course, ministry has been continuing with the awareness creation and part of enhancing the capacity at different levels, both at the national and district local government. And in this respect, I would like to express a special gratitude to all our non-state actors, the academia, the media, like Monitor Publications, New Vision, and a range of development partners for supporting government in this. Because part of the provision of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change provides for enhanced education, public awareness, and training, and public participation. And this is further entrained in the Paris Agreement, the need to bring everybody on board and leaving nobody behind. Very clearly provided for under the Paris Agreement. Everybody must be involved if we have got to build the resilience of this monster, which is not about to end. If anything, we are there to see how we can reduce on its impacts and manage it for the benefit of our local people. Of course, there are reporting requirements of the country, which the Ministry of Water and Environment undertakes through the CCD, namely the reporting requirements of providing regular reportings on the status of measures and actions what the country is undertaking in dealing with climate change. This is, the terminology here is called the national communications. So Uganda is now in the initial stages of preparing our 3rd national communication. The initial national communication was done, the 2nd national communication was done. Now again, the ministry, CCD, with support with GIZ, has developed a very comprehensive and dynamic climate change actors landscape. And again, I invite all of you to visit our website or the ministry's website to see who is doing what and where. It has a comprehensive list. Of course, we keep updating this more regularly. The economic assessment of the impacts of climate change in agriculture, water, energy, and the general aspects of infrastructure was undertaken, and I invite you to read through what it tells. Very worrying. The cost of inaction for government of Uganda, if we don't deal with adaptive measures, particularly in our key sectors of economy, like in agriculture, means the country stands to lose well over $500 million, but most importantly, to redress this, the country will require money in the region of $3 to $5 billion in the next 20 years or so. But there are details on the economic assessment of this in agriculture, and it is further segregated. Crops, livestock, and so forth. And the same applies to the other sectors covered under the assessment on the impacts of climate change in the country. Roads, for example, it is quite astronomical. The establishment of a National Climate Change Resource Center is already in place, and we hope to further beef up the knowledge management resource base, especially to support a number of our actors, both especially in schools, all types of schools up to the tertiary institutions. And I'm happy to report that the Climate Change Resource Center in the ministry is linked with the Makerere University Climate Change Research and Innovation Center, MUCRI. Again, a lot of programs, particularly by colleagues at the Makerere University, are in the offing. Again, I would like to acknowledge, perhaps for emphasis, the support of UNDP in many aspects, including supporting government of Uganda for the first time to put in place the national greenhouse gas inventory system. And this is very important, ladies and gentlemen, because part of our problem of not accessing financial resources, the point that the Honorable Minister pointed out, is because of lack of adequate data, information to justify our case when we want to seek grant financing to implement actions on the ground. So we need to put our house in order. And the essential, what we call the monitoring, reporting, and verification, and the National Greenhouse Gas Inventory are very key, very vital, both to inform our decision-taking as a country, particularly in terms of guiding investments, but also important at the international level to support us in fulfilling our reporting requirements. Currently, of course, again, to remind ourselves, this is particularly important for gender. We undertook in partnership with Makerere University Gender Department, I don't know that he has graduated now, a research study on the impacts of climate change in a number of districts in the country, and the results are outstanding. Very telling how the most marginalized in our society, and who are very, very important providers of wellness, food, and so forth for our country, have been most impacted. I invite you to share that, the results of the gender and climate change study undertaken by the ministry in partnership with Makerere University. And consequently, as a result of that, we have developed as a ministry through CCD the draft training manual on gender and climate change. This is yet to be finalized. It is still undergoing consultations to refine it. Currently, we have various adaptation and mitigation interventions which have been implemented in various parts of the country. And there are quite some number which are in the pipeline of mobilizing the requisite resources to enable us to go into full implementation. Again, to remind ourselves, under the provisions of the Paris Agreement, where every country, 195 countries, were required to submit their respective national climate change actions, dubbed as the nationally determined contribution, was decided upon. And therefore, for government of Uganda, we have this in place, and it prioritizes some key sectors of our economy. I don't know how many of you have seen this, but I could mention quickly. For emphasis, it emphasizes, among others, key sectors where we can derive maximum sustainable development benefits for our people and harness our economic growth transformation. at the same time contribute to our emission reduction targets, where government of Uganda has set a target of 22% reduction in greenhouse gases by the year 2030, translating into 77 metric tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. And these sectors are mainly renewable energy sources, where government of Uganda is committing to generating from the variety of our renewable sources a total of 3,200 megawatts of power from solar, geothermal, wind, hydropower, hydropower schemes, biogas, and so forth. So renewable energy. Of course, related to that is energy efficiency. And perhaps on renewable energy, I'm happy to note the latest developments. 1 or 10 days ago or so, the second solar power scheme generating or with a capacity of 10 megawatts was launched in Tororo. The first one having been launched in Soroti, already operational, serving a number of communities. And this is the way to go. If we can move in that pace, roll out in the entire country, certainly we'll be addressing many of our problems on access to energy at household level, and perhaps even to use it for industry, particularly promoting value chains in agriculture. Energy efficiency is another one. Forestry, also a very key aspect. The government of Uganda actually has just finalized the preparation of the reducing emissions from deforestation and forest degradation strategy for the country as part of fulfilling our requirements under the Paris Agreement and the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. I'm happy to report to you all and to fellow Ugandans that during the forthcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference, the government of Uganda will co-host, together with the United Nations Development Program and FAO and other partners, the official launch of Uganda's RED Plus strategy, again underpinning the importance of our efforts in forest conservation and so forth. Remember, forest alone is one of the single most important aspects of acting as a sink, storing carbon. So cutting trees, chopping down the forest, leads to emissions, carbon dioxide, which contribute to the warming of the Mother Earth, the planet. And I'm happy my colleague, who is the RED Plus National Focal Point, if there's time, she will be sharing with you the teaser later, but to here suffice to know that Uganda has made substantial progress on RED Plus, putting in place the requisite necessary processes which can trigger the country accessing what we call results-based financing to support our forest actions. The other sectors on wetlands, my colleague Commissioner Wetlands is here. Again, I'm not going to emphasize, but wetlands is quite key in our country, and is part of our national determined contribution, in addition to being provided for in Uganda's national climate change policy. The other sector, which is dear to us all, everybody, I believe, no exception, is agriculture, food security. Yes, no food, I think everybody will go wild. Isn't it? It doesn't respect race, whether you are rich. Once you don't have food, even if you have piles of money, you have no real food fiscal, it is rough. So, agriculture is part of those prioritized under Uganda's national climate change policy and Uganda's nationally determined contribution, particularly the climate smart agriculture. We've got to go and have climate smart solutions on how to deal with agriculture, the basis of our survival and our economic transformation in the country. I could mention other sectors and adaptation. Of course, transport, I have not mentioned transport, particularly focusing on fuel efficiency and efficient mass transit transport. Many countries are doing this. Uganda are yet to be there because this is a major contributing factor in terms of emission reductions. Yet, it is equally important in our economic development struggles. Adaptation of sectors like health, we have the area of infrastructure, human settlements, and so forth. Now, again, to reinforce the development framework context, besides the NDP2 now in place, the government of Uganda has just finalized the preparation of Uganda's Green Growth Development Strategy under the leadership of the National Planning Authority and with the technical support of the Ministry of Water and Environment through the Climate Change Department. And already arrangements for its official launch, high political official launch, have almost been finalized. Again, thanks to NDP for supporting government of Uganda in this process. And if we fully implement this, the government of Uganda can surpass our target of contributing to emission reductions beyond 22% to 32% over the same period by 2030, and further generating over 4 million jobs with a GDP growth substantial. I may not quote the figure now, but that's another matter for discussion. Now, some of the current agenda items, perhaps, they may not be here, but I want to emphasize with the most one, from what the minister said. We are now all working as a government through various lead agencies or various ministries, departments and agencies and development partners to see how we can roll down to more actions. I think this is the most important part, the more actions. But perhaps let me underpin some of these which are ongoing. One is that the draft National Climate Change Bill 2017 is undergoing final consultations before submission to Cabinet and the subsequent tabling in Parliament. We consulted the permanent secretaries about 10 days ago, and the only remaining was the next meeting of the permanent secretaries is meeting early next month, which is less than 10 days, and they will further finalize their input into the draft Uganda's climate change bill. And thereafter, it will be shared by the Policy Committee on Environment, which is a cabinet subcommittee and consisting of, I think, over 11 ministers, chaired by the Right Honorable Prime Minister. After their input, we will be ready as a ministry to prepare a cabinet paper, and our minister will table this before cabinet for their consideration and approval. Once that is done, the bill will be tabled to Parliament for Parliament's consideration. In our roadmap, we anticipate that before the end of this year, hopefully, this bill will have been tabled before Parliament. And I can say this with confidence that the Parliament of Uganda has total commitment to fast-track consideration of Uganda's climate change bill. Anybody who has not seen it, maybe my team, we need to post this in the website, but we can share this even amongst this group. The draft, actually it's the second or third version now, the draft National Climate Change Bill. We have literally consulted 112 district local governments. Consultations with Parliament has been undertaken, which was well attended, over 100 members of Parliament. Consultations with the private sector was undertaken. Consultations with various NGOs or civil society organizations has been undertaken. Also the media and so forth, and academia. And the minister has put in place what we call a technical working group, which is interministerial, to provide guidance to the entire process, which is supported by a legal team or legal technical services, supported by UNDP, as well as the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, specifically the First Parliamentary Council, that is working with the ministry to drive the process forward. Of course, in this regard, I would like to express gratitude to the USAID, Feed the Future Enabling Environment and Agriculture, the GIZ, and the United Nations Development Program that have complemented government efforts in this direction of providing or delivering the legal framework for Uganda. Already on adaptation, which is priority for the government of Uganda, matters of adaptation, loss and damage are very dear. It's a priority of the government of Uganda and our national climate change policy. But also equally, within the African group and the least developed countries, adaptation remains priority. So for the government of Uganda, we have now started a process of having a framework on how to deal with the adaptive capacity of communities to respond to the recurring problems of climate change. Already a sectoral NAP has been put in place, namely integrating agriculture into the NAP. Again, with the support of FAO and working with the lead institutional Minister of Agriculture, Animal Industry and Fisheries, this has been undertaken. Other efforts are ongoing to have sector-specific adaptation plans, namely in water is already beginning, and housing is also beginning. The preparation, again, mention was made about the forthcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference, which is bringing in 3 major conferences of the parties to the 3 international climate change instruments that I mentioned earlier. But in addition, the work of 3 subsidiary bodies, namely the subsidiary body for implementation, the subsidiary body for technological advice, SABSTA, and one ad hoc working group on the Paris Agreement will have a number of agenda items to consider during the forthcoming United Nations Climate Change Conference, where the whole world will be there. In fact, including USA, I was reading. They will be there very active in the Bonn Climate Summit, which is being hosted by the German government under the presidency of the Fiji government. Fiji, they don't have facilities to host the numbers that normally attend these UN summits, climate change summits. So they reached understanding with the German government, which is also a host of the Secretariat of the United Nations Climate Change Secretariat. Also, so in that respect, we have made a series of meetings under 6 broad thematic groups of adaptation, loss and damage. We have mitigation, including REDD+, climate financing, capacity building, technology transfer, and gender and climate change. So there have been preparatory meetings in the last 4 or so months, and each of those groupings has got a membership of between 25 and 30 members drawn from various institutions, including both government at national level and non-state actors. And so we are now in a position to consolidate the country's position as we head to Bonn. And this week alone, the EAC, the East African Community Secretariat, which has drawn a program for all the 6 member states, we had a program with them on Monday this week, again trying to harmonize Uganda's position vis-a-vis that of the EAC. And so we only have one meeting of a forum where we expect 200 people, both including the negotiators or part of the government delegation. Our non-state actors will be participating in the UN conference, as well as other key stakeholders, to tease through Uganda's priorities. And thereafter, we are going to produce the country's consolidated book, which will guide our negotiators who will be attending the UN meeting. But again, as I mentioned earlier, we'll have a series of side events alongside the negotiations. And we have fielded a strong multidisciplinary, multi-sectoral delegation, which will include 4 ministers, honorable ministers, a number of members of parliament, representatives of ministries, departments and agencies, local governments, and a number of non-state actor representatives. Again, we're in the final stage of coming out with the second phase of our low emission capacity building project with support from UNDP, which is going to focus on NDC implementation. Already, I would like to say here informally, subject to signing, one of our major development partners has committed, at least we've got the communication, in supporting government of Uganda go into early implementation of our NDC priorities. And there's some commitment of money, about 5 million euros, in implementing climate smart agriculture, but we hope for more resources to come in place. Again, just for emphasis perhaps and for your information, government of Uganda has prepared 2 investment plans. One is called the Forest Investment Plan, prepared and approved by the Climate Investment Funds, with the World Bank as the lead multilateral development bank that has supported government of Uganda. And the other investment plan is called the Strategic Program on Climate Resilience, and the pilot program of climate on pilot change resilience of the Climate Investment Funds. Now, the 2 investment plans were presented to the various committees of the Climate Investment Funds based in Washington, D.C. in early June 2017, and I'm happy to report that the 2 were approved by the respective committees of the Climate Investment Funds. And all in all, we are looking at a total of slightly more than $400 million to implement the 2 investment plans. So what we are doing as a government, led by the Red Plus focal point, they are now elaborating the investment plans, and the Climate Change Department of the Ministry of Water and Environment is elaborating on the investment plan, investment concepts, not plans anymore, concepts for 5 key priorities of the strategic program on climate change or climate resilience. We're also in the initial stages of preparing what we call Uganda's biannual update report. This is a COP decision, and for the government of Uganda, it's going to be the first time that we are preparing a biannual update report, which is a requirement of all countries to update ourselves on actions undertaken, particularly focusing on the mitigation actions of a country, what do we do to respond and contribute to emission reduction and bring in sustainable development, as well as aspects of financing. And of course, it has a lot of bearing on trends of our greenhouse gas emissions. Efforts to intensify mobilization of climate finance are ongoing. Again, I think yesterday or before yesterday, we had a workshop organized under the auspices of our colleagues in the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development, focusing on Uganda's climate finance strategy, which provides for a strong basis on how the country can take advantage and harness any opportunities to mobilize additional and incremental costs required for investment on climate change actions, which are of course additional. And plans are underway to fully implement the country's national climate change policy and the NDC as stated earlier, as well as the Green Growth Development Strategy, which in our view should catalyze concrete climate actions at the community level for our socio-economic transformation and contribute to reduction of the warming gases. There are initially six warming gases other than those covered under the Montreal Protocol, and the seventh gas was added during the UN meeting in Warsaw in 2013. Therefore, as part of my concluding remarks, I would like to again restate that the shift to abundant renewable energy sources and energy efficiency, as well as climate smart agriculture and efficient transport system, the water, forest and wetland conservation efforts are quite important for driving our economic growth, and not underpinning the essential role of addressing key challenges of settlements and our health systems. Remember, there are diseases which are recurring or which keep coming as a result of the extreme weather events. I don't want to preach to you. You have had problems of malaria in areas which never existed, the waterborne diseases, and so forth and so forth. Now, the role of the private sector, civil society organizations, the NGOs, the media, the academia, the youth, women, and Community Action Network and other groups, including the development partners, cannot be overemphasized in catalyzing community action towards a more climate resilient and a low carbon development trajectory in our country, as provided for in Uganda's National Development Plan 2. And of course, consistent with the provisions of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, these are quite important as it provides us safeguards for guaranteeing achievement of our economic growth, household incomes, food security, water and energy security in a sustainable manner. And in this way, we should be able to achieve not only our economic growth targets, but also contribute to our targets of reducing the warming gases. At the same time, I would like to emphasize the need for technology transfer, diffusion and deployment. Clean technologies, whether it is with respect to agriculture, clean technologies are industries, clean technologies, whether it is like irrigation, instead of focusing on the diesel pumps, let us harness the power of solar to pump water for irrigation, domestic use, and industrial purposes. Things like restoration efforts, forests and our wetlands are again quite key. And we should all be able to achieve our economic growth targets, therefore, in reducing the warming gases, as well as contributing to implementation of the Sustainable Development Goals and the 2023 African Agenda for Development. Many of you are aware, the AU at the highest level of heads of state and government made a declaration. So at this point in time, and for the interest of time, I would like to thank all of you, distinguished participants in your various capacities, and hope that as leaders, we should be able to cause change. Each and all of us can be a leader in a way. Therefore, let us all be leaders of change to contribute to limiting the warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius. Remember what the minister said, according to reports. If Uganda is going to register a warming of 2 degrees Celsius, it is catastrophic for our survival. If you are going to see coffee wiped out, whether within central part of Uganda, the mountain areas, it is catastrophic. If you are going to see maize not surviving, it's catastrophic for our survival. So ladies and gentlemen, once again, thank you very much for your kind attention, and I would like to stop there for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chebet Maikut, the Commissioner, CCD, Minister of Water and Environment. Now, ladies
turning on your world. When you live in a place of possibility, when you're driving Africa's growth, you never stop moving forward.
Stanbic Bank. Moving forward.
Amanyo gari gasumbu wa musawa na nagirira na habo mauthi wa shira naona kati n'emmere ng'ensirira musange mu famasi wonna ne supermarket ekuli okumbi owona okuyita mapengo yennana haba mouthwash.
Brace yourself, because this month we're all about bringing you the best entertainment non-stop.
Wild.
We're talking seriously wild, sexily bold, and ridiculously real. Non-seriously stop.
I don't want to say too much out my mouth. I'm superstitious.
Scandals, tears, and fat family beats all day long. So make sure you're ready, because it's the best entertainment non-stop. Only on DSTV.
Cholesterol-free one bite, you're inhaling. Ooh, my meals just got better, cause every meal is for the satisfaction. I've got the crispy taste of much more. All my worries about pet food, great, don't close on. Of Uganda.
Are you in need of being refreshed, beautified, and renewed? Come to Sparkle Salon and be pampered by our team of experienced staff that will leave you feeling rejuvenated. At all Sparkle Salons, we offer professional barber, hairdressing, nails, beauty and wedding services to a cosmopolitan clientele in a comfortable environment using proven products at affordable prices. Just walk into our outlets and you'll be instantly attended to. Our salons are located in major shopping malls with safe, ample parking space for your comfort. At Lugogo Mall, Garden City, Forest Mall, Oasis Mall, and Acacia Mall. Sparkle Saloon. Professional, affordable, and quality services.
Pregnancy means different things to different people. What would a pregnancy mean to you now?
In my situation? No. That's why I use a coil. What about you? Jeez, I am not ready. That's why I use pills.
We can't wait.
We are ready to have a baby.
Man, I can't feed another child, so I support my wife to use implants.
What will another pregnancy mean to you now?
My land got finished. That's why I even got a vasectomy.
Trouble. My parents would kill me. That's why I'm abstaining from sex.
I cannot even afford airtime. So, I use condoms.
To prevent unplanned pregnancy, visit a health center to find an option that works for you.
Governor presents Friday Night Live with Uganda's legendary Africo Band. Featuring the great Mr. Semakula on Friday, the 27th of October for only 50,000 shillings. Powered by NTV Radio 1. Governor, whatever you mood, we've got the color. And Johnny Walker. Alcohol is not for sale to persons under the age of 18. Please drink responsibly.
On the next episode of Coke Studio Africa, Lydia Jasmine from Uganda creates an original hit with Liloka from Mozambique. A girl from Kenya collaborates with Ezo Business from Tanzania on an awesome throwback track. And rising stars the band Becca from Kenya get the chance to work with AKA from SA and Olamide from Nigeria. Only on Coke Studio Africa. This is where music meets.
the second NTV Economic Summit, jumpstarting Uganda's economic transformation.
Coming soon on NTV.
November, Trans Africa Ginger, Kusita Mkaluku, Atenga Sana November Resort Beach and Tebe, Kusita Mkaluku Musoka, Tiga Tino Dimokubanga Mutano, Shoba Kubiru Musamu, Grampian Service Centers, Kukambala Road, Lukogo Shoprite, the Shoprite, Tower, Radio and Whistle, 10th anniversary, Paka, and take a kidwa, Sama Purubala, Radio 1, Coca-Cola, and that's a joint of Chikume Uganda Police, Belaga, Mwenge, Tekukizwa, Sabaka Kumana, Mwenge, Bunyano Funani Sibwa.
MTN. Everywhere you go.
The Lands, Housing and Urban Development Sector will hold its second Joint Sector Review meeting on 25th and 26th October 2017 at the Conference Hall Office of the President of Uganda. The review meeting is aimed at reviewing the performance of the sector and identifying strategies to guide the sector planning process. Join us this Thursday afternoon, 26th October at 4 p.m. for a live talk show as we seek to extend this review policy discussion brought to you by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, supported by Pelham Association Uganda and Oxfam.
Fanta tastes so delicious and so good, selling it is easy. Watch this. Hashtag, we're taking over.
Hi, are you the new team marketing director?
Yeah, I'm Alex.
Hey guys.
Hey Dad.
How are we doing that new commercial show that Fanta is omnisensorial?
Omni what?
Meaning Fanta awakens all your senses?
What about a guy who picks up a Fanta and then all of his senses get huge?
He can hear the bubbles.
See the orange colors.
There he is.
I love this idea.
That makes no sense.
Enjoy the great taste of Fanta, now in a new look.
On the next episode of Coke Studio Africa, Lydia Jasmine from Uganda creates an original hit with Liloka from Mozambique. A girl from Kenya collaborates with Izo Business from Tanzania on an awesome throwback track. And Rising Stars, the band Becker from Kenya, get the chance to work with AKA from SA and Olamide from Nigeria. Only on Coke Studio Africa. This is where music meets.
On the next episode is brought to you by
Sutherland. Let's color.
This week on T Nation. What's up with the hairstyle?
It's a new style. Now we can only kapya ke kali mushite. Tobitegeera.
What's your name?
Linton Brenafin Joshina Daffy Grass Daffin Fintalea.
A geostorm.
Come on, baby. Catch the brand new episodes of T Nation every Saturday at 11 a.m. and they repeat every Thursday at 2:30 p.m. only on NTV Uganda.
Inspired by the world's most beautiful places, Sutherland has been bringing color to the world since 1907. Sutherland, let's color.
This program is rated PG. It is suitable for children ages 8 and above, but parental guidance is advised as it might contain mild violence and mature situations.
I'm going to have Eduardo and the baby. Elaine is in danger right now. We have to go back.
We're going to need a lot of help. This baby isn't coming out right.
I just can't help but think that you're a...
What?
Let go of my daughter.
A witch like that Dulce killed my only daughter.
other newborn? The one that'll go to Elena?
They already have him inside. As soon as Elena gives birth, they'll give him to her.
Just know that Karina and I have decided to set a date for our wedding. We're going to get married.
I have him! Bring the sheet over. We had some problems. The other baby, the one we were going to give to the woman you brought here, well, that baby died.
What?
It's better if you don't see him yet, Elena.
Let me see him.
It's better if you don't see him.
All right, my friend. This is where you get out. The road you need is just over that way. Keep on it until you find a small shack.
That's much too far, buddy. Look, I'll pay you to take me, okay? It's an emergency. A woman might be in danger. Please, you must...
I'm sorry, my friend, but I can't help you out. I've got deliveries to run. This is my job, and I'm too late already. I'm sorry, I can't help.
All right, it's okay.
Best of luck to you, man.
And you as well.
Elena, no. Elena!
It's only because of the injection.
It's not the injection. It's the shock from looking inside that crib.
You've worn out your welcome. I'm now going to get your wife ready to go by tomorrow. We don't want any trouble here.
We paid you very well for your service. And for a healthy baby.
That's why I'm going to help you. I don't want any trouble here at all. She'll be walking by tomorrow morning, and then you'll be gone.
Don't you make any mistake here, midwife. You do well not to threaten me like this. I want to get my wife back to her normal strength, or else I'll hurt you. So don't you threaten me and do what you have to do to get her back in order.
I don't understand why we still haven't heard anything from Elena and Monte Cristo. You haven't, right?
Nothing.
Have you guys heard anything at all?
But what could have happened? Why did Monte Cristo go that way?
Eduardo's missing too. I know it. It's dangerous, but it's the best way to go west.
I'm sure that Monte Cristo knows that land very well. He's always over there spending time with that Indian.
Why didn't Andrea toast with us at dinner? She went straight to her room. Did anyone tell her we were going to toast?
I told her. Or no, I didn't. Was it you that told her?
Oh, no, not me. I didn't tell her.
I'll go see if she's okay up there alone.
I'll go with you. I have something to tell her. I want her to be our maid of honor. So I'll follow. Let's go.
I had to tell you before, Andrea. I'm so sorry.
My darling, didn't they tell you we were going to be toasting soon? Andrea, did you hear me?
How's the most beautiful niece in the world doing?
I don't know. Something's wrong with her. Oh my God. She's burning up with a really high fever.
But how's that? She was perfectly fine earlier.
I don't know. I'll call the doctor now. What's going on? Honey?
Sweetheart.
What do you have?
Are you okay, Andrea?
Yes, I'm sorry. I'm okay, but I have to go now. Congratulations, Walter. I just wanted to tell you. You know what? It's really nice. She's rich, and you are one of her employees. You fell in love and you made it work. And now you're getting married to a very beautiful woman.
Yes. Yes, we've always belonged to the family. Love broke everything. It jumped obstacles. Many obstacles, yes.
You talk like someone in love. You know what, Walter? I know what that's like.
Listen, milady. Love shows up when you could never possibly expect it to.
All right. I'm very happy for you. For both of you. Congratulations, brother.
Thank you. Thank you, milady.
I don't love you. I didn't tell you before because I didn't want to hurt you too much. I thought that if we were to break up with each other, you'd leave without asking and without insisting.
Look at all of these absolutely beautiful houses. They'll be just ecstatic living in any one of these.
Look at this one next to a river. What a nice view. Andrea and Michael will live in paradise after getting married.
That's honestly the truth. I don't love you, and I never did.
Young lady, open your eyes now.
Do something. I can't take her like this.
You two must leave now, immediately. Go to the hospital. Get her checked out. But don't you dare sell me out to them.
Look here. Walking down the street with a dead baby and my wife isn't easy, so you'd better do whatever you can and make her wake up right now.
Come on. Look at me. Don't you dare die in my house.
Elena.
Listen, there's a beautiful hotel nearby. I'm staying there the next few days. You heard me correctly. I said me. You now are staying here. You came up with the idea of running away from home, right? Well, then, I was frustrated for not producing milk for my baby. So I went out and we ran away to this nasty swamp that has every sort of horrible animal you could think of. Yeah. Just like the life that you gave Daniela and myself when you sold us for cold, hard cash. Oh! Little Daniela. She did love you. She really did. She was always so stupid. But me, however, I wanted you to love me, so the moment when I revealed my hatred for you, this moment would truly and seriously hurt you deeply. I want every rat here to eat you alive.
You need to leave now. You have no right. You have
told you I don't want any trouble
Where's
here.
Where's your baby? You degenerate. I'm going to kill you, Monte Cristo. You're dead, man.
I don't know who you are, but this is my house, and I won't allow...
You little nuisance. You're gonna get me in trouble for leaving you alone. Shh. Shut up. I got your stupid milk. Maybe now you'll stop crying. Please shut up. Just please shut up. You're just as annoying as your stupid mother. And if it wasn't just because I needed you to look okay so you could go meet your father, I'd let you die crying now. And then I'd throw you away in the garbage. Shut up, please. Shut up!
Filthy degenerate! Damn you! You were supposed to protect her! You were supposed to take care of her! You're nothing but a liar! A dirty bastard! I'm gonna kill you with great pleasure!
That's enough! No one meant any harm! That baby wasn't well from the start. I did what I could, but it died.
You killed the baby!
He's dead now, and that can't be fixed no matter what. Now get out of here. Take that woman and the baby. Get out of my house right now.
My little Thomas. My little Thomas. Here you are, my baby. Yes. There. Don't cry. Everything will be okay. What's wrong, baby? You want me to take you to your daddy, right? Yes, let's go look for him. Just don't cry. There. Calm down, baby. Shh. Calm down. There, honey, there. Shh. Don't cry anymore. We'll find your daddy, okay? Then the three of us will be together.
I'm terribly worried about Elena. She hasn't gotten to the hospital or called us at all, and Eduardo hasn't come back. He disappeared.
Walter, we told Dr. Tapia, so he must be on his way.
How's Andrea doing?
She's not well at all, and the doctor's not here. Why don't you go look for him?
Yes, right away, yes.
Finally, the doctor. Oh, no, it's you.
Do you need me for something?
Yes. I told Jesusa to call you here to help. Can you please tell me exactly where you last saw Monte Cristo's car?
Of course, but I thought that Mr. Eduardo went to help.
Yes, but he left a long time ago and we haven't heard anything from him since then. Do you mind taking me there?
Of course I don't mind. We can go now if you want to.
Excuse me. And here I was about to go looking for you, Doctor.
Rebecca called me. She said Andrea's not well.
We don't know what's wrong with her. Rebecca and Karina are with her right now.
Doctor, follow me, please. I'll take you.
I don't know if I should go look for Eduardo. I don't want to leave Rebecca and Karina alone now that Andrea is sick.
No, don't you worry. Go look for Mrs. Elena and Mr. Eduardo, and I'll stay here. Everything will be fine here.
Yes, okay.
What's wrong with you? Didn't you hear me? Get out of here right now!
You are all going to pay for what's happened here after I go get Elena.
You don't have anything to do with it.
This is all your fault, Monte Cristo. You left her in the hands of these butchers.
Fire!
Elena! 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 Elena's not there! Elena's not there! She's nowhere to be found!
She must have gone out through the back door! Oh my God! Not my house! Not my house!
de amor.
I don't know. Something's wrong with Daniela, and I don't know how to help her at all. She's been suffering an immense amount.
Oh, Nina. You can't keep going on like this. Thinking of Daniela's gonna make you go crazy.
No, it was different this time. I felt her pain as if it was my own, as if it were a part of me. It's such a deep pain, Father. A pain that hasn't allowed her to rest in peace.
Be calm, Nina, and try to get a lot of rest here. You're still in shock because of the accident.
No, Father, no. You have to believe me. Daniela really needs me. She asked me to help her, and I don't know what to do. It's all my fault we almost died in that car accident. I'm just lost, Father. I'm completely and utterly lost.
You must try to remain calm, Nina. I'll pray for you too. Come. Come here, Anacleto. Give me your hands. You as well. Lord God Almighty in heaven, you are my shepherd. I ask you to hear my humble plea now. Help this poor woman find peace and see that she's guided through the path of righteousness, mercy, and wisdom, so that she may understand and accept your justified will.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. I also ask you to help our Daniela, that poor wandering soul. Allow Daniela to let go of the pain that still keeps her bound to this earth, and in the hope that she may go meet you up there. Bless Daniela. And bless all of us as well.
Amen. Amen.
What is it, Doctor?
It's too soon to tell here. I have to take her in to run some tests to get a better diagnosis.
What kind of tests? To diagnose what exactly?
I'm not certain yet, but I don't like the look of all the blemishes she's got on her skin.
Yes, but can it just be a simple case of allergies?
I hope it is, but we can't lose any more time here. The best thing is to call an ambulance.
Is it really that bad?
I really hope not, Rebecca. I hope not.
You're going to be okay, Andrea. Yes. I'll be praying for you.
How far away is the spot where you saw Monte Cristo's car?
We're not there just yet.
I'd better call Martin. I don't like any of this at all. Alan, this is Laura. Listen, I think Elena's gotten into some trouble.
What exactly was she doing there? I understand. Yes, I also find that to be suspicious. What's the address? All right, I'm on my way now.
I really can't believe what happened to Susie out here. I'm honest to goodness scared that I'll be the next one, girl.
You are telling me this job gets harder and harder each and every night. Do the police know who's behind it?
I don't know. It seems like a client took vengeance. Look alive. Car's coming.
Hello.
I'm sorry. I thought you were Susie.
What could Susie have that I don't?
Well, nothing, honestly. But I was supposed to meet her here tonight. Do you know where I can find her?
Oh, well, Susie's not working the block tonight, but me. I'm always here.
Many thanks, many thanks. It's only that Susie and I know each other well. She knows all my deepest fantasies.
I'll tell you something. If you take me on tonight, not only will I fulfill all of your fantasies, but I'll also show you some that you can't even begin to imagine. How about that, huh?
Sometimes it's beneficial to try something different. How on? Have you and I ever met before?
Oh, yes, sweetheart. That's what they all say. You'll see soon enough. I'll give you more than just good memories.
Be careful. Wake up, honey. She needs to get her strength, my God.
I'm glad you're here, sir. What's wrong with her?
What's wrong with Andrea?
What are you doing here?
Rebecca, this isn't the appropriate time for petty squabbling. Doctor, what's wrong with Andrea?
I don't know yet. I will still need to run some more tests on her.
Oh, my darling.
Honey, what's wrong?
It may just be a virus, but we'd better hospitalize her while we run all of the necessary tests, just to make sure that everything will be okay.
All right, we'll take her to the very best hospital we can. I'll pay for it, I promise.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You fix everything with money, is that not so?
Andrea, how are you? Are you in pain?
No.
The ambulance has arrived.
You'll be okay. You'll be okay.
I got her. No, I have her. I have her.
Come on. Just keep your head right there.
Let me go.
Hurry.
You're just the most beautiful, the sweetest, and you'll be loved. My boy.
Elena!
My little
Elena!
baby.
Elena!
Mom won't let anything happen to you.
Elena!
Don't cry.
Elena!
Don't cry, my little baby.
Elena! Elena! Elena, where are you? Oh, Elena. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. This is all my fault. I'm sorry, Elena. I didn't take care of you. I'm so sorry. I didn't take care of you enough. Or our son. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Elena! Elena!
NTV, turning on your world.
Fanta tastes so delicious and so good, selling it is easy. Watch this. Hashtag, we're taking over.
Don't stop, come alive. Come alive, y'all.
Hi, are you the new team marketing director?
Yeah, I'm Alex.
Hey guys.
Hey Dad.
How are we doing that new commercial show that Fanta is omnisensorial?
Omni what?
Meaning Fanta awakens all your senses.
What about a guy who picks up a Fanta and then all of his senses get huge?
He can hear the bubbles.
See the orange colors.
There he is.
I love this idea.
That makes no sense.
Enjoy the great taste of Fanta, now in a new look.
The
Lands, Housing and Urban Development Sector will hold its second Joint Sector Review meeting on 25th and 26th October 2017 at the Conference Hall, Office of the President of Uganda. The review meeting is aimed at reviewing the performance of the sector and identifying strategies to guide the sector planning process. Join us this Thursday afternoon, 26th October at 4 p.m. for a live talk show as we seek to extend this review policy discussion brought to you by the Ministry of Lands, Housing and Urban Development, supported by Pelham Association Uganda and Oxfam.
On the next episode is brought to you by
Settling. Let's color.
This one, of course, you have to work smarter, harder, faster.
Teams are given seed capital to invest. This time, they have to scuffle with the existing hawkers for a spot on the streets.
They have broken our watermelon and our pineapple. We have to strategize again.
It's all part of doing business in the hustle and bustle of downtown Kampala.
You can't change a winning strategy. So we are maintaining this strategy.
Inspired by the world's most beautiful places, Settling has been bringing color to the world since 1907. Settling. Let's color.
Thank you so much for helping me.
He's very handsome and very well behaved.
Yes, that's correct. Even though he has to deal with such a terribly inexperienced mom like myself.
He's so very tiny. You really just had him?
Yes, but his dad's very far away. I've had to do everything for him on my own.
That's the story for many women. They're all alone without mostly anyone to help them.
If only you knew about everything I've been through.
But you got your baby, though. He is your joy and your big reward. And besides, he's so handsome and very strong. Look at how he grabs my finger.
Listen, I need another favor. I need to go out, and of course I can't leave him alone. Would you watch him for me? I'll obviously pay you for all of your time.
Of course. Of course. I'll stay here and take care of this little angel. What I wouldn't give for such a beautiful little baby.
Where's my sister Daniela?
Good evening, everyone. Jesus and Milady, go ahead and set and serve another plate at the table, will you? Daniela, listen to me. You can't keep attacking Elena. She's just another of Eduardo's victims. Elena's not your enemy. You have to leave her alone.
Nothing. I can't see Eduardo.
I'm sure they have fixed the car and went to take Mrs. Elena to the hospital.
They would have called. I left everyone a message on their cell phones. No. Something must have happened. Something happened. Are you sure this is the right way, Pancho?
We're nearby. Laura, keep your spirits up. Look there. Look, it's Mr. Eduardo.
Eduardo!
Buddy, where's Mrs. Elena?
I lost her. I lost Elena and the baby.
But
both of them.
I don't understand. Where's Elena?
I don't know. She left. Monte Cristo took her to a midwife and the baby's dead now.
Oh my God. She lost her baby again.
Laura, I can't find Elena anywhere. I've been out there for hours. It's been useless.
No, she can't be far because she just gave birth. She must be weak and devastated. Devastated, my God. Elena must be devastated. And she's all alone in the woods. Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Let's go look for her.
God.
Let's keep looking. We have to find her. She has to be somewhere. I don't know, but she has to be somewhere.
Laura, what's wrong? What's wrong, Laura?
Elena's missing and we can't find her. She must be so scared and tired and horrified and beyond grief that her baby died.
Don't worry. We'll find Elena, trust me. Trust me, we'll find her, Laura.
Don't cry. We're almost there. There.
Hey, are you lost? We can help you out with a lift.
There, my little Thomas. We're almost there. Just a little bit further.
Hey, princess, why don't you get in? We'll take you anywhere you want to go. We'll get lost too, for a bit with you. I don't think she hears us.
There, little baby Thomas. We're gonna see your daddy soon, okay?
Let's leave her. I think she's lost her mind.
Yeah, man, let's go.
You thought you could get rid of me so easily, you dumb moron? You miserable old woman. I decide when, where, and how your stupid life will be at its end. At least you felt what I felt when you abandoned me. Just as if I were in a disgusting swamp with absolutely nothing. Come on, get up, old hag. Get up, old hag. What's wrong with you? Well, you can't? Aw, you are so damn pathetic. As per usual, I have to clean your messes. I just took a shower, you old fool. You see what I have to do for you, you ungrateful little old hag? I'm afraid that death would be way too easy a sentence for you. Now get up!
That twin had planned everything. Everything was all right until Elena started to give birth after I saw her. The baby wasn't in the right position. That fat midwife spent hours trying to help her through it. He was finally out. And when we went to exchange him, the other baby was already dead. I can't believe that disgusting midwife gave us a dead baby. Did you hear me?
The storm is drawing closer, and it's very strong.
That fat midwife robbed me, and Elena ran away. After that, I couldn't find her anywhere, Kalima.
You really lost your wife?
She fainted when she saw her newborn baby dead in its crib beside herself. Then Eduardo came. We argued, and then we fought, and Elena went missing shortly after.
That is a bad sign, Monte Cristo.
The worst part of all of this is that there were two witnesses, that nasty midwife and the woman that takes care of her. These loose ends have to disappear. Do you understand, my friend? While you take care of that, I'll see how to handle the entire family. This is going to be a major problem. She had just given birth. She's weak and lost in the nasty swamps.
The swamps are very dangerous, especially at night.
I know. I was hoping to have something with Elena, but there's nothing left now. It won't be easy for her to come back alive, but she asked for it. Elena's the only one responsible for her fate now.
Elena! Elena!
Elena! Elena? Elena? Elena!
Elena! Elena! Elena!
Mrs. Elena! Mrs. Elena!
Elena!
Elena! Elena! We've checked the entire place. She's not here right now.
She couldn't have gone too far. She just gave birth and she's very weak. She's got to be here somewhere.
Knowing her baby died must have made Elena incredibly distraught. She went into a deep depression back when she lost her first baby, but this is a much worse situation.
All right, well, I think we should call it a night. Wait for Dawn to come, and then we can start again tomorrow.
Martin, you can go back if you want, but I am not going to move from here until I find Elena tonight.
All right, you're right. You're right. Let's find her. Let's just keep looking, okay? We have to find her right now. She has to have gone that way. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Elena!
Elena!
Come on, Mommy dearest. Come on, you gotta get all clean. We have to get all that dirt off of you so you can look presentable. Listen to me, okay? I got you out of that dirty swamp for one reason only, and that is because I want you to stay quiet. If you try to talk to someone ever again, that'll be the very last thing that you do. Is that clear? There you go. You look very beautiful. That's how I like it. Now let's go to the hotel. You better give me a smile, because I don't want the people to think that something bad happened to you. Come on, Mommy, smile. You want me to give you a reason to cry? Well, if you don't smile, I'm going to break all of the pretty little bones in your fingers, one by one. So now, give me a smile. Smile! That's it. That's how I like it. You saw how easy that was? It doesn't matter if you feel like you're dying now. You can always pretend. I know that very well through experience. But no matter. Off we go!